Yo, what up nerd? My name is Simon and today I'm bringing to you an actual battle. Two reviewers, HBB and Crinacle, in a fist fight in the middle of Tokyo, in the back streets of Singapore, fighting for your mid-fi money. Or just, I'm going to be doing first impressions of two collaborations, two IEMs which were tuned by different reviewers. The TRIxHBB Kai, there we go, that's a beautiful set. Yep. And the Truthear x Crinacle Zero. Now, some disclaimers. First of all, this is not going to be my usual first impressions video, because what I usually do is I just, pop the sets out of the boxes and listen for, 3 songs to each set and give you like my actual first hot takes on how they sound. But due to some technical issues, I've already recorded this video a few times really. So yeah, I'm not gonna be doing this for those sets because I've already listened to it. So I decided I'm gonna do something different, and I've been listening to them over the past week. I've spent about, I would say, 10 to 12 hours listening to the Kai and about 6 hours listening to the Zero. So I think I have a pretty decent take on them. Not enough to do a full review yet, so that's why it's not a full review, in case there's any smooth brain in the comments section saying, "Oh, thanks you for the review, mate." It's not. But yeah, I think I can have a pretty interesting take on both. So that's what I'm going to be sharing. And just a disclosure, really. The Kai was sent to me by Tri themselves, on behalf of HBB, who is also a good friend of mine, right? So usual disclaimers apply. Tri or HBB have not paid me or influenced me in any way to say anything positive or negative about this set. And if you watch my video on the earbuds made by Rikuro Goku, who's also a friend of mine, you will realize that just because somebody is my friend, that doesn't mean I will go easy on the product. But it's fair to be skeptical if you're new to the channel, so I'm putting it out there. And the Zero was sent to me by Nims, who is a good friend of mine. No affiliation with Truthear or Crinacle, but there's that. So the way we're gonna do it today is, because I've already listened to them, but I still want to kind of preserve my format, I'm going to be listening to one song on each and going a bit more in depth than just one song would usually allow. Now, the song that we're going to be listening to today is, I've actually didn't choose yet. Let's do the Unforgiven II by Metallica. And let's start with the more expensive set, the Kai. So, the Unforgiven II, TRIxHBB Kai. Let's go. Okay, so the TRIxHBB Kai. This IEM has surprised me in a very important way. In that, in that when I looked at the graph, I was like, "You sure you want to send me this, bro? I'm not sure I'm gonna like it, and you know me, I'm gonna give it a negative review if I don't like it." But HBB decided to send it to me anyway, and I'm like, okay. And to be completely honest, he was right to send it to me, because I do like it quite a lot. Not just for the design, which, features the colors of a Ukrainian flag, which is much appreciated for me. But yeah, also for the sound. And now the tuning on the set is something that's quite rare in IEMs nowadays, which is it's a bassy set, but it is not a V-shape. And what do I mean by that? Well, a V-shape just means that you have boosted bass and boosted treble, right? This set has the boosted bass, definitely, but does not have that boosted treble. It's quite dark in the treble, actually, and I found it absolutely wonderful on like older recordings, stuff like Fleetwood Mac, Metallica, Black Sabbath, stuff like this. The Smiths, an amazing British band that I just love, and yeah, those sound amazing on those older recordings. Also newer recordings, right? I listen to a fair bit of like pop songs and new metal music, new rock music with those, and they handle that well. But specifically for those, you know, like older songs which are mixed a bit thin usually, this set just like kind of fixes the tonality of those songs, which is kind of great. But yeah, the bass is boosted, but it's not like overbearing, right? There is a tiny bit of bass bleed into the mid-range, but I really don't find it like too distracting. It's only noticeable on like the lowest of male vocals, like stuff like Frank Sinatra, right? I did notice it there, but like most male vocals are unaffected, and female vocals are definitely unaffected by that warmth. And as for the mid-range, like aside from this like tiny bit of bass bleed in like the lowest regions of the mid-range, I found it really neutral, natural sounding, and well balanced. What do I mean by that is that like both male and female vocals tend to sound actually really full and nice on this set, which is a definite win in the tuning department. Sometimes the higher vocals, like Maisie Peters is one example, can like just a tiny last bit of like, you know, energy in those upper mid-range, but overall I don't complain. And the best region of this set is, you will be surprised by that, the treble, because you're asking like, what the fuck, Simon? Because you usually like boosted treble, you like a lot of treble, you like bright set, and this doesn't really have much treble, right? And you'd be right, but it does not. But the quality of the treble that is there is honestly probably the best under $100 from what I heard so far. The treble is very well balanced, but also you get like, you know, it's like never fatiguing, never sharp, which, you know, you can guess by the fact that it's like recessed in the mix, right? But what I did not expect is how much like how natural things like electric guitars, cymbals will sound. Like, you know, all the treble instruments just sound so correct on this set, and I just love it because you can hear it was not just tuned by graph to look nice on the graph, but just like tuned by ear to sound exactly right in the treble. And it really does. Like in this song, The Unforgiven II by Metallica, I heard like, you know, the different tonalities of all the different cymbals, which is like so rare on an IEM this price range. So mad respect to the Kai for that. The technical performance here doesn't seem particularly noteworthy. It's not bad. It's like on the level of things like the Moondrop Starfield, but I feel like it's a tiny bit behind the Juno Titan S. But like, you know, it's not bad. It's just definitely not the highlight of the set. The highlight of the set and what you buy it for is definitely the tuning. And I would say, if you've never heard like good relaxing treble, that set is a must-have because it's not expensive and it just sounds so damn relaxing. Alright, now speaking of a set that might not necessarily sound relaxing, let's go to the TRIxHBB Zero. Now, this set is kinda really different from the Kai, but I guess we'll talk about it after I listen to the Unforgiven II on it. So, be right back. Okay, so the TRUTHEAR Zero. Now, whereas the Kai I would not call a V-shaped set because it does not have that boost in treble, even though I would say it's probably a bit bassier, slightly bassier than the Zero. The Zero is very much a V-shape, a perfect V-shape, if you will, because this is a joke, because if you don't know, it's tuned to the Harman target, which many people claim to be the scientifically perfect way to listen to music. If Sharu is watching this, like, fuck off, mate. Now, it's not a secret that I don't really love the Harman target. It's, in my opinion, it just has some glaring flaws in that it usually recesses stuff like bass guitars, which is my favorite instrument, and it tends to overly emphasize the female vocals and make the male vocals a bit thin. So how does the TRUTHEAR Zero do? Because, you know, you might think like, oh, if it's tuned to the target, why would you even get it? Like, you're not gonna like it anyway. And that is true. I thought about it too, but for some reason, something about it said this made me wanna have it. And I'm like, no, I need the Zero. I need the Zero in my collection. I need to try it. And I did. First thing I actually noticed was like the fit is just like kind of perfect in my ears. It's a bigger IM and I have bigger ears, and it's comfortable to have bigger IMs, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. But sound-wise, I was actually surprised because I don't mind it at all. Sometimes, you know, with Harman tuned sets, I will like immediately notice there's like a clear disjoint between like the sub bass that's like overly boosted usually and the rest of the frequencies, right? But this here, it is still present, but it's nowhere near as bad as on some other Harman tuned sets. So huge plus for that, huge. But how does it actually sound? Well, it is just like the Kai, definitely a bassy set, right? Though the bass here is mostly localized to the sub bass and some mid bass. It rolls off around, I think, 150, 160 hertz going by ear, because I forgot how it graphs. But yeah, around 150, around 160 hertz, which means that stuff like, you know, kick drums, bass, any kind of bass drum really, are nicely emphasized. Electronic bass will definitely be really like nice and pronounced on this set. Bass guitars, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes they're about perfect, sometimes they're, you know, on the part that already starts rolling off and sound a little bit thin, but generally I don't mind the bass on the set. The mid-range is, I would say, extremely clean. That's how I would describe the sound. It's very lean, very analytical, but for most vocals, it sounds really good. It sounds kind of thin for very low-end vocals, like the aforementioned Sinatra, right? And can definitely sound shouty on some like upper tier female vocals, stuff like Maisie Peters, just like she will sound really like kind of shouty, kind of like too much. Sigrid definitely also sounded a bit much to me, more than, you know, like more boosted than I would like, more boosted than neutral. So there's that. But for like 95% of the vocals, like James Hetfield in this song and the Unforgiven II, it just sounds really excellent. Like, I would say the vocal reproduction on this particular song was definitely better on the Zero than it was on the Kai, which is impressive. Now, the treble I definitely prefer on the Kai. The Zero isn't bad, it's just a bit like kind of safe, kind of boring. It's like your traditional IEM treble, right? Think something like the Windrop Starfield, think something like, I don't know, Dunu Titan S. This has got very similar treble to those, which is not a dig. It's also cheaper than those, right? But it's like, it does not stand out the way the Kai treble stands out. And for technical performance, I think that Zero might actually be more technical than the Kai, despite being cheaper, which is good. It's good. Now, which one of those should you buy? I think the best advice I can give you, depending on the kind of music you listen to, right? Because, for example, Zero actually sounds extremely impressive with stuff like metal and modern rap. But for example, for stuff like rock and older rap, you would go to the Kai. So it's, both sets are really versatile, but both sets like really shine on different genres. So the best advice I can give you is to wait for my full reviews on both, because I'll be doing a full review of both of those sets really soon on this channel after I rest on the weekend, because I just had the hardest week ever at work. So I really need my rest. So the reviews are probably going to go up around Wednesday. Today is Friday, and I hope that I will be able to post this video today. So there's that. All right, so I've been rambling on long enough, which means that, as is tradition, you can go and fuck off. Cheerio.